Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Recently I had an Etsy customer order 33 of these Claire Bun Beanies, all matching in the red, white, and blue stripes. And I thought I would take this opportunity to go ahead and film a quick tutorial for you guys to show you how I change colors. Maybe if you don't know how to change colors, or if you don't like the way you're doing it, this might help you out. Super fast tutorial, and it's going to be a super quick opening, so let's just go ahead and get into it. So I just finished the brim of my Claire Bun Beanie in a child size. That's why I'm using the H hook. This is my child size Claire Bun Beanie. It's the same pattern as the adult, it's just a smaller hook. I just finished my 55th single crochet around the brim, and I'm getting ready to join into the top of my first single crochet, but instead of joining with my blue yarn that I would normally join with if this was solid color, I'm going to drop the blue, let it hang in the back, pick up my next color, which is going to be red, grab it and pull through all the loops on my hook, and then I'm going to chain up one to hold it there. And now I'm going to just leave the blue attached back here because I'm going to use it again later to make these stripes. But we're going to start with the red, and I'm going to do my row of puff stitches. So this is not a tutorial showing you how to make the Claire Bun Beanie. If you have never made one before or would like to find the pattern for that, you can find it on my blog and also in my Etsy shop. I will make sure that is linked in the description if you're watching this on YouTube, and that way you can find them and know how to make the Claire Bun Beanie. But I'm going to just fast forward here and come back once I get to the end of my first row of puff stitches. Okay, I just finished the last puff stitch in my red row. I'm going to insert my hook into the top of the first stitch in the row. But instead of grabbing my red yarn, I'm going to let it dangle in the back just like I have my blue yarn back here. And I'm going to grab my white yarn and attach it. Then chain one. And now I have a row of white puff stitches that I get to do, while my red and blue just dangle in the back. And when I get back to the end of this white row, I'm going to grab my blue yarn again and start the pattern over, and I will show you how to do that when I get to the end of this row. I am back to the beginning of my white puff stitch row. I'm going to insert my hook in the top of the first stitch, but instead of grabbing my working yarn, I'm going to drop that, and I'm going to pick up the blue yarn from the very beginning. Now if you keep your tails organized while you do this, you won't get all tangled up and have to switch your skeins around. But if you do, switching your skeins around is not hard. So I'm going to actually switch my skeins right now. I'm going to just put the red on top of the blue so they can switch spots. And then I'm going to grab my blue yarn, drop the white, grab the blue, give it a tug, and then just pull it through the two stitches there and chain one to secure it. Then I'm going to give my white string a tug, make sure it's hanging out in the back, and then I'm going to finish this row with a blue puff stitches in each stitch. And when I get around back to the beginning, I will join and pull up my red yarn and then do another row of red puff stitches. Coming up to my first stitch in the blue row, I'm going to insert my hook, but instead of grabbing my blue and pulling it through, I'm going to drop it, and I'm going to pick up the red. So that's, I'm going to move the blue to this side, pull the red up this way, pull it through, and then give the blue a little tug. And now I can work with my red and make another row of red puff stitches. And when we get back around, I'm going to switch back to my white again, and I'm going to keep doing this for every row until it is finished. But we will do it together here on camera, that way you can see it from start to finish. with all the color changes, not all the puff stitches, because that would take forever to video. I finished my red row. I'm going to join into the top of the first stitch, but instead of grabbing my red, I'm going to grab my white yarn, pull it up. See how my yarns are getting all tangled over here? I've done it before where I pull up the yarn and it doesn't do this, but I can't really remember, and it's just easier to just come over here and play musical skeins with your yarn than to try to figure that out right now. So I'm just going to grab my white, pull it through, and got another row of white puff stitches here. I will keep the camera rolling for a little bit because I want to show you what I do when these yarns get all tangled up. I'm just going to switch them around. So I see that this guy needs to go under my white. So that's what I do. And then my red here, let's see, my red needs to go this way. And then my blue, let me get this stable. There we go. Then my blue needs to go under my red. I'm telling you, there is a way to keep this organized. I just can't remember right now for some reason. Usually, I end up playing musical skeins every time I do a striped Claire Bun Beanie. But there has been 1 or 2 times where I did it, and it was just perfect. And it has to do with how you pull each skein when you join to finish the row. And you can see on the inside here, your yarn will just be making this little line of all your different color changes. So it's pretty clean on the inside once you get the tail sewn in. Ugh. So I will finish this row and come back for the blue row. Finishing up my white row, I'm going to pull this red and I add 1 more puff stitch into this space. Ugh. Okay, tighten up my red from the previous row and then insert my hook here, and I'm going to pull up my blue yarn, and I think if I just cross it over the red and over the white, I think, let's see, blue, grab it, chain 1, and then I'm going to work with my blue yarn. When I get back around, we will switch back to red. Coming to the end of my blue row, I'm going to insert my hook, give my blue a tug, and then grab my red yarn. And then I have a puff row in red, and we are almost done with this beanie, but I do want to show you how I end it. So that's why we're doing every single row. So after I finish this red row, I will be back. Just finished my red row. Going to insert my yarn, but instead of grabbing my red, I'm going to leave it in the back and pick up my white instead. Give it a nice tug, pull it through. Now I have a white row, a blue row, and then a red row left. And then I can show you how to end it. And I will also show you how I sew in my tails, because I know some people struggle with that bit as well. White row is finished. Going to pick up my blue yarn and leave my white yarn to dangle in the back. I think I could actually cut my white yarn, but I'll just wait. Just a few more rows that I'm absolutely certain, which I'm 95% sure that I could just cut it, but we will come back to that. Okay, so finished my blue. I'm going to grab my red this time, give it a tug. Yeah, after blue is red. And then I'm going to do a red row of puffs, but then I'm also going to do red for the single crochet row at the end, so I can go ahead and snip off my blue and white here, making sure to leave enough tails for sewing them in at the end. And then I can just kind of shove those down into the body of the hat so they can be out of my way. And I will do one more puff row of red, and then I will do my row of single crochets still in red, and then cut my red yarn and sew in all of my tails. I've made this hat before and I changed the single crochet to go with the pattern of the beanie, so I would have done a white row of single crochet since that's the next color in the order, but I think it just looks cleaner if you use the same color as the last row of puffs for the single crochet row. But I just wanted to show you guys that so you can learn from my mistakes instead of doing trial and error for yourself. So as soon as I finish this row, we'll hop back on here and do the single crochet row. Just finished the puff stitch row with the red. I'm going to join and still use my red this time, so I'm not switching to another color. And now I'm going to do my single crochet row all the way around, and then I can cut my red, grab my tapestry needle, and sew in all of these ends. Single crochet row is finished. I can cut my yarn, pull it through to tie it off, and now let's flip it inside out so we can see our tails and where the color changes happened. I'm going to be using a tapestry needle for sewing these guys in. That's just easier for me, but I will show you how I do it. Okay, I couldn't find my tapestry needle anywhere, so I grabbed one of my spare tapestry needles, and I'm going to start with this red tail because it's the easiest. And go ahead and get it out of the way. And I just sew mine in by going under and in between the threads of the stitches in the same color of yarn. And I go back over myself a couple different times so it's nice and secure in there. And then I just snip it off. Now let's do this blue here. Give it a tug so it's nice and tight, and then I'm just going to go under this red puff, not to where you can see it on the good side. I'm just going under this half of the puff stitches, and then I'm going to get down into this blue here, go into the blue puff, and then back this way, and then again. And that's how I tie in my tails around the puff stitches. And that's all I do to sew in my tails. I will do that for the rest of these tails, and then this guy will be all finished and ready to go to a group of cheerleaders who ordered 33 matching Claire Bun beanies. I'm hoping they'll send me a picture so I can show it to you guys. Easy peasy. I hope you found this tutorial helpful, and now this will change some of your Claire Bun beanie making game. I hope you sell lots of them this beanie season. It's just around the corner. I can't wait to see your all's color combos. Have a great day. Bye.